Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. The Cowboy Carter tour started just a couple of days ago, and I really just been gagging at Beyonce, like just her greatness, her longevity, all that she's capable of. Like, I've been a lifelong fan of her, but sometimes I just sit and think about how great she is, and it scares me. So because of that, I really want to rank her albums in what I consider worst to best. Now, a couple of disclaimers. I saw somebody else do this, and just like hearing the video, just watching it, you might look at, like, listen to some of my opinions and be like, what could you even be talking about? Like, there's no way that you would choose that or put that there. But just hear me out. When it's you who actually has to put them in order, you realize that her work, no, she has no objectively bad albums, not a single one. You know, not everybody can say that. She doesn't have one single album that sucks. She just has some that are better than others, you know? And there are certain albums on this list that really have inspired me to just speak my mind, because I just can't believe her mind as an artist, as a person, as a mother, as a woman. Y'all, the way I'm sitting in this random parking lot and people are walking by like, do you want to stand? Do you want to stand car? Do you want to tap in? Do you want a ticket to go see the tour? But let's get started, because I want to talk about these in depth, but I don't want to bore y'all with my opinions forever, because I will go on for hours if you give me them. Okay, so the album I actually think is at the bottom of this list, I have to say, is I Am Sasha Fierce. And it scares me to say that out loud, only because I think it's an era that people associate with so much prosperity for Beyonce. Like, for some reason, this is the moment where everyone is like, white people suddenly tapped in, like we suddenly start caring about Beyonce. And the reason why this personally hurts me so much is I think this era has some of her best performances, like, ever. I literally have a whole list of annotations right here on why I made the decisions that I made. The VMAs performance, you know, Where My Ring At, iconic, will never be forgotten. I love her performance at the Grammys of If I Were a Boy, and the Alanis Morissette You Oughta Know cover. Like, her, especially at the end of her 20s, I think she was really in her vocal prime. It was crazy. But you know what? I feel like there are several reasons why I feel like the general public low-key misunderstood this era. Like, I feel like, number one, I think it's the era that Beyonce gets the most Illuminati allegations from. Like, for some reason, I don't know if it's a black and white that had people feeling like, you know, there's something wrong with you. And it's really funny because I know that she made that decision out of trying to prove people wrong about it. And, like, I mean, she was kind of right, but she was also kind of wrong at the same time, because to this day they still call her the Illuminati queen, you know. But that could also be due to the level of success that she experienced this era, you know, like literal commercial high, like Halo, Single Ladies, the songs heard around the world. Like, the thing is, like, I don't think that people really appreciate how young this album is. Like, Video Phone, it's a hot, juicy, young girl, bouncy song. Like, only a bad bitch could do that. Like, only a girl in her 20s who's still fun and flirty could deliver that. Diva, that is a very, like, come on. I just feel like something about this album read as so mature. And to be fair, like, she was at the latter end of her 20s, so I'm not saying that she was an adult. I just feel like people don't really feel how hot girl this album was at the same time. And it could also be the tone of, like, Single Ladies and If I Were a Boy, like the songs that are really about treating a girl right, and that weren't as, I mean, Single Ladies was fun in terms of dancing, but the content wasn't just so, like, you know. Yeah, but this is hard to place at the bottom specifically because it has some of my favorite deep cuts by her. Like, I love Radio. I love the song Radio, if you know that, or like Poison. That's just a song that I would never put over other songs that she's released later in the future. Like, I just feel like it might have been a commercial peak, but her artistry has honestly grown so much since then. If I had to give it a number, like, out of 10, I might say 7.5 out of 10. For a lot of people, this would have been a 10 out of 10 project. You know, if they had this high, who cares if you have another one, you know? But for her, this is like, you can do better, and she did do better. Anyways, the album that I think is the next best is 4. And 4 means so much to me because she's actually the album that inspired me to make this list. the reason why I respect this project is because I feel like this is the point where we see Beyonce actually start trusting herself. Like, this is her first time. I believe this is when she dropped her father as her manager. She obviously ends up getting pregnant pregnant when this album releases. I don't know if she was pregnant when she was still making it or not, but it dropped in 2011. Blue is born top of 2012. So her life is just changing. Like, as a woman, as a mother, she is evolving. And I respect this album because this is the last time that Beyonce gave a damn about anybody or about anything but what she wanted to do. I think, I don't know, we don't really talk about Saturn return albums with artists. You know, maybe I'm just not on the right side of astrology, social media, but I feel like this is a real Saturn return album where the public, this is where you see the public start to turn on her, and commercially this is probably her low, you know. But I think Beyonce deserves a round of applause for respecting herself and choosing herself. When the mainstream went one way, she stuck to her guns. I think if you love R&B music, if you respect R&B music, you have to respect this album. You have to respect Beyonce as an artist. You know, I started revisiting 1+1 and Dance For You. I just can't believe that. Like, I always loved those songs as a child, but they, just as an adult, I realized the excellence that's gone into that. One thing I always say about Beyonce that I love, and when I talk about her debut, I'll mention this again, but I love that she's always been like sexy without feeling crass, without feeling like vulgar. And I feel like this album was a great demonstration of all the ways that she was showing love, like was talking about her love life without it being too crass. But I think this is the first time that we see a glimpse, just a real glimpse of like Freak Beyonce that we will get when we actually get to self-titled. It's funny because this album has some of my favorite Beyonce cuts, like in terms of R&B, but it also has my least favorite song by her ever, which is Best Thing I Never Had. I think that song sucks. I don't care. It might have been 11 when that single dropped. From the first moment I heard that song on the radio, I hated it. To this day, I hate it. I think Beyonce has a lot of chronically millennial moments. I think that is her millennial lowest, okay? And I'm somebody who listens to radio, like I said. I be on the hotline every day and I still hate that song. The thing about it is, Beyonce can do millennial cringe right when she wants to do. Like, School and Life, you know, I'll take a pass. Spaghetti, honestly, from Cowboy Carter, she gets a pass for me too. I'm not tripping about Spaghetti. But honey, Best Thing I Never Had, I don't want to hear it ever again. I don't care about the message. I don't care about anything. It sucks. This is another project that I think is definitely, in my opinion, is better than Sasha Fierce, because I think R&B in general is just a more natural fit for Beyonce compared to some of the pop moments that she had on that album. Not to say it wasn't authentic. I just feel like this was still her real roots. Like Beyonce, when you get down to the nitty gritty, she's real R&B, real funk, real soul, like real Southern girl. But this list is better than I Am Sasha Fierce, but it's so low because I feel like this is another project where she outdid herself so much. I think this album is valuable for the risk that she took, not necessarily the outcome. But I do think that this album is like a masterclass in trusting yourself and trusting the process. You will get there even if you're not there today. I will also say that one of my favorite moments from this era is she wears this blue glitter bodysuit on stage. Amazing. Even though like the glitter that was all over her in 1+1, to this day, so inspiring to me. Y'all probably can't see really well in, you know, this lighting, but it's glitter all in my hair, all on my chest. I feel like that's very Beyonce. Just being a walking shiny thing, it's very me because of that. How do I phrase that? I don't even know. Next best? Yeah, let's just say next best is The Gift. One thing about me, I'm African down to my core, down to my bones, down to my soul. One thing about me, if you have a good Afrobeat, you have a good dancehall song, I'm gonna gag. I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna wear it out, I don't care. You know what's so interesting though? I did recently watch the movie for the first time. You know, I'm honestly just not a real Disney girl. Been out for like, what, 6 years at this point. I just now watched it. And for some reason, I really felt like it felt quite disjointed from the movie. I don't know if it's just the fact that I didn't get to see the whole rollout process. So maybe that's why, to me, it doesn't really feel like a natural segue. I feel like I've heard movie soundtracks that, the soundtrack was great and I think it was a great illustration of the movie, but I just don't think it fits so naturally into the movie, if that makes sense. Like if like in terms of like what it was based on, it did a great job of conveying its message or what it wanted to symbolize, you know. Like it was a great representation, yeah, a great representation of what, like, it was a great interpretation of the Lion King story as a project. I just did not watch the movie and feel like it just fit so cohesively with the storyline that was actually going on and how they were actually telling the story. But like I said, it might have just been the context of when I actually got the chance to watch it. You know what my biggest disappointment with this album is? Because I love Beyonce on Afrobeats, and like I said, Afrobeats and dancehall music, I want her to do it. Every black person, I don't care where you're from, I feel like you're entitled to use those genres, and I love it. My biggest wish is that Beyonce would do more Afrobeats music that is like grown. Like, you know how she had the move on Renaissance? Like, I honestly wish Brown Skin Girl was like grown like that. Like, of course it's for Disney, so it has to be child friendly, so I'm not complaining. Like, I'm an adult, I'm not gonna complain about the content for a children's movie. I just hope that Beyonce makes more songs like Move. Like, her and Wizkid need to collab again on something that they can actually play in the club. Because if y'all were gagging at Brown Skin Girl, I know that they will do something so chic, so sexy together. This whole like mercurial thing that they have going on, it'll be everything. I love how she reached out to African artists to get this project done. I honestly want to see Beyonce I want to see her work with, I keep saying that, I want to see her work with the genre more. I do respect her for reaching out to artists for the authenticity, for whatever vibe that she was going for the song. I think visuals is the strongest part about this album. I also love how it feels very diaspora oriented. It's not really one country, it's not really one sound, you know, like it's Afrobeats, but there's South African songs, but you know, there's gospel music, but there's that. I also just love full circle moments in artists like lives and their dreams, because I know that she had based on the stuff that she started with she had always wanted to do an Afrobeats project, so I'm just happy to see that it actually materialized. And for something so monumental as a Disney movie is, bruh, I know she was gagged. I do think that there are several songs on the project that to me are misses. Like, personally, Spirit and Bigger will never be getting a replay in my house, but I don't think that they're objectively bad songs, and I do think that they obviously fit the context in which they were created for this children's movie. I just feel like because it was created around a children's movie specifically, it wasn't as good as an Afrobeats project by Beyonce could have or should have been. Like, please have everybody in the studio be over 21 and let it just be another organic project. It's gonna go nuts. I feel like the general public, it's not even I feel, the general public paid this dust, but I promise you, even doing it right now, I think will be a better time to use Afrobeats music than it was at the time. You know, everything pre-Essence, I'm not saying it don't count. I was listening to Afro music, but the general public in America, were they listening? No. I honestly would give Gift a strong 8 though. Like, every issue that I have with it is because I personally don't like it, not because I think it's bad. For what it intended to do, it did amazing. The album that I think is the next best is Dangerously in Love, her debut. This album is obviously a classic. You know, Crazy in Love, the people will never forget that, the debut of all debuts. And isn't that technically not even her debut? For her to come through and wipe out all the floppery that Work It Out did with this song, with this album, I think says a lot about her talent and about her dedication to herself, and how, like I said, sometimes you gotta trust the process. Like I said, I think that this album displays how true to her sound, like how I think this album displays how R&B, funk, and soul music are so central to Beyonce. Like, listening back as an adult later, just realizing how R&B this album was, I think at the time it made a lot of sense. Like, you know, the early 2000s was very accepting of the genre, but it's just seeing how pop changed by the end of the decade. It's just so amazing to me that this album was so real R&B. Like, Beyonce really didn't have a wild pop cut aside from Crazy in Love. Maybe that's how you like it, but everything has R&B influence. Everything. I also think the fact that she has R&B classics like Speechless, Be With You, songs like Hip Hop Star on a debut says a lot about her mind state. Just like, it's always so hard for me to imagine that Beyonce was the age that she was at the time, because she always just seemed so much older. She seemed like a lot more developed mentally than she probably was, and I feel like it says a lot about her artistry that at 21 on her debut she was able to deliver songs like that. Like, that stuff that there are a lot of artists, like I said, and they will never reach that. There are a lot of amazing R&B artists that I know who I love and I support, but I know that they will never ever in their lives ever deliver a Be With You. For her to do it on her first album is nuts. But yeah, this is another album where the visuals to me were over like amazing. Watching Naughty Girl back, like I said, I am always amazed by how sexy Beyonce is without being vulgar. I was just like, I never felt seduced by the song, or I never felt like it was inappropriate watching it as a child, but I watched it back as an adult. Like, she was begging for it. She was ready to go. She was hot and ready. She's just a classy lady, and I respect that. To this day, I respect that 100%. I'm just obsessed also with Baby Boy. I'm obsessed with Beyonce on dancehall. I think that she does it so well. Don't care what anybody says. In that genre, I will always support her trying stuff because she does it well. I don't care. We also, I feel like we do talk about it, but I feel like we still don't talk about enough just how good she looked. Like, she was performing Crazy in Love, just coming outside looking sexy as I don't know what. I think this album is a strong 8. I want to give it an 8.5, but like I said, Beyonce can and has done better. So you know what? We're just going to stand on that 8 right now. The only thing that I think that this is missing is some of the experimentation that she's going to get so good at later on. Like I said, I feel like this album is more so about her roots, like where she's coming from, but we see how far that she's going to go. The next best album, in my opinion, is my personal favorite, and which is funny because it's in the middle. There's several more that I think are way better, but I believe in B-Day Supremacy. I am that girl who, to this day, cannot get over Freakum Dress. I think I love this album so much because there are several songs that I associate with coming into consciousness, like remembering who I was and the fact that I'm alive. And Upgrade You by Beyonce is one of them. You know, We Belong Together and Shake It Off by Mariah Carey, Be With You by Mary J. Blige, or just a couple other ones. Don't Ya by Pussycat Dolls was real hot when I was a kid too. Like, I remember Irreplaceable being on the radio. I remember how Freakum Just makes me feel to this day. I think the display of energy that Beyonce used in this album is just like no other. I think it's really a celebration of coming of age in a way that I don't think that has ever been topped or duplicated since. It's her project that refers to her Creole and her Creole I was gonna say her Creoleness, that refers to her heritage the most outside of Lemonade. I also got to watch Dreamgirls for the first time recently as well, and I never quite understood what she meant by this album was inspired by all the things that Dina had wanted to say that throughout the process, but she couldn't. Like, she had put off recording until the end, and I watched the movie and I finally understood it. Like if Dina was doing this in the movie, that would have been different. I think this is for all the divas. I think this is for the young lit bitches. I think this is an album for the bad girls, for the hot girls. Yes, yes. I love how loud this album is. I think that feminine empowerment is also obviously a huge theme of Beyonce's songs, like, throughout her career, and I think this album is the album of feminine empowerment songs personally. I think this album deserves more because it birthed what? The Beyonce experience, the concept of visual albums and deluxes. You know what's really funny? I heard somebody slandering the B-Day Deluxe today, and I'm like, what kind of, who are y'all? Like, where did you come from? Like, what kind of blasphemy? Like, what kind of world do we live in where y'all are looking at B-Day like, oh, she's weird, like, oh, she's not good? The deluxe of B-Day and what that deluxe gave to the world is not good? You're weird. I just feel like this was a masterclass in energy and performance and vocal performance. Like, what? There is nothing about B-Day that you can argue against, in my opinion. I feel like if you don't like B-Day, you're literally just a hater and an idiot, probably. There's nothing wrong with this album at all. Like, they're talking about, bruh, somebody was like, oh, I don't like Welcome to Hollywood. I'm like, y'all are so weird. Where is your taste? Why are you like that? Like, this album to me is a strong 9. I think genre-wise, the only thing I would take away from this album is maybe genre-wise, I do think it's quite pigeonholed, but considering like the topic matter, considering the amount of time that it took her to make this, I think it makes a lot of sense. I respect the cohesiveness of the sound. It's just, like I said, it lacks experimentation, and it's like, it's not really something that I feel like I should take away from her, but we know that she's capable of more. That's just what it is. So, but I also feel like a 9 is amazing. Like, that's not like a bad score at all. Like, this, when I tell you this is my favorite Beyonce album, I mean favorite to this day. But the next album is, self-titled. Okay, hear me out. Number 1, The number one reason why I respect this album, because it's the first time that we see Beyonce be a real freak. Okay, y'all, I have cried to Partition more than one time because I'm so inspired by how real and raw and fun and unhinged she became once she had her baby. I also respect this album a lot because I feel like this is the manifestation of the risks taken in for that I respect her so much for. I also really love this album because I think that it gets really good. Like, I just got EXO After a Decade. I just got Haunted the other day. I just got it. I listened to it again and I was just, oh my god. I got it in 2013, like when it came out. But if you are one of those people who you got it on release night, you are really so special and you're so lucky, because if you understood Haunted the very first time, you're a different kind of person. You have a different taste level. You're a different kind of artist. Like, if you got Haunted the first time, you're really that girl. If you got No Angel the first time, you're really that girl. Because baby, as much as I love that song, I did not get it the first time. The way the world literally stopped, like, the fact that she was able to change the release days to Friday based on the success of this album, who else do you know can drop an album with no promotion and it actually works? You know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of titans in the music industry today. They cannot just drop something with no promotion and it expect to still sell. You know, she literally says it in the lyrics of Haunted, like, I'm not about to make no money off of this. This is for the love of the game, and the game paid her back. Well, to an extent, because I don't understand how this did not get her more major awards for the quality of the music, but also just the impact of the project itself. Like, this is where you see people, I think, start to blatantly play in her face, because I just don't think there was anything out of 2013 or 2014, whatever year is considered, like, in terms of the Grammy submissions, because I know it was released at the end of the year. I just feel like there's probably no project from around that time that aged well or better than this project, especially because if you were there during 2013 and 2014, you know how, let's just say, like, corny everything was. Like sneaker wedges were in at the time. So you can't pay me to believe that other people, whoever might have won the album of the year that year, was objectively better than this album. I just don't believe that was true. I just don't. And so I think this is definitely where Beyonce stops talking to us. She was just like, yeah, y'all can think what you want to think. I'm not going to correct you. I think this is where we see Beyonce move to kind of legend status, especially after they try to get her out of here after 4. Like, it was over, and then no, nothing is over. We're just getting started, in fact. I also feel like it's really sad as well. Like, this is the album that, you know, I don't think this way because I'm a normal person, I'm a sane person, but this is an album that really makes me realize that the numbers game is really a rat race that nobody benefits from. You know, like, people try to act like if you're not number one, you suck, just because the person who was number one sold 100,000 albums and you sold 20,000. Honey, if you're moving 20,000 units of anything, you are a success. If you are charting at all, you are a success. Because do you know how many people in this world would die just for that? Would die for 20,000 sales? The way some people would look at it and be like, that's it. You know? Like, when you care about art, when you care about artistry, when you care about expressing yourself and being honest more than you care about being awarded or being recognized by people outside of those who love you, Beyonce has so many loyal fans. And I feel like this era, if there was no other era in her career that would display it, is this era. That she has fans who love her, and it's not about the numbers. It's about the people who show up for you and show out, because the fans showed up and showed out for her. And to this day, I don't think that anybody has dropped an album that has made as much of an impact with no previous noise than her. You know, I think this album is a masterclass, and if it's good, if my people like it, who cares how many people buy it? Okay, if my people see me, which they will, who cares who don't? You know, the shows are still selling out, the albums are still getting bought, they're still showing up for me. Who cares if I'm number one or not? Especially because at that point in time, she had been a veteran in her career. So, like, why do I even need to be number one? Why do I have to keep proving myself? Why do I have to break my back when I know that I am good enough? You know? Soul Title gets a 10 for me. It gets a 10. It's a 9.5 the first time you listen. It's a 10 the second time. It only gets better, I promise you. Listen to it again, you're gonna gag again. The next album that I think is the best, there's 3 or 2.5 after this. The next album I think is the best is Lemonade. Now, I respect this album, number one, because it's the first time that Beyonce admits something to us that she really don't gotta say. Beyonce don't never gotta tell us her business, and she's made it clear that, oh, she won't if she don't want to. So for her to take a topic that I'm sure that was so sensitive, and like, I'm sure, you know, this is the same public that's been coming after her and her husband for a minute. So for her to just come out with it like, yeah, it happened, you know, and I made him pay, and I still got my family back after all that, I think was just very slayful. I've always really respected how Beyonce is not afraid to make her relationships the center of her work, just because, like, it's such an easy thing to attack, you know, like, there's not many things that we can say or we know about Beyonce to be true for fact, but Jay-Z is the one thing that we know, that the tangible thing that people go after because it's the easiest thing about her to attack. So for her to create literally her best album out of it, I think says so much about her and her artistry and her as a person. I've just always in general been really inspired by her just using love to create hits. Like, just thinking about Crazy in Love and Drunk in Love, like, it's I just really respect it, because girl, I've just never been moved by love that much. So to see somebody be moved by love that much and gain so much success off of being open with their heart, I just have to give her 10s for that. No matter what you have to say about Jay-Z, her decisions as a person, to me, I respect, even if, you know, I don't always understand or agree with them. This is really where we start seeing her not care about numbers, and it's really wild, because had she cared about the numbers this era, it would have been a whole totally different conversation. And I do feel like if you can still talk about the relevance of numbers after literally hearing her magnum opus, I think that you are a decrepit, empty waste of a space of a person. Like, you know what, maybe it was for the best that Beyonce was not you know, trying to get y'all money or trying to prove something with y'all numbers, because y'all would have saw her as too greedy. If Beyonce was greedy in this era, y'all would have never been able to forgive her for how successful she would have been. And I feel like this era is the moment where people really start feeling like they can just like play with, like, other fandoms feel like they can start talking to her a certain kind of way, or like numbers have to come first, because they feel like, well, if one of the biggest artists in the world on one of her most influential albums, especially up to this point, because Lemonade held us over for years when Beyonce was out doing whatever that she wanted to do with her. Y'all, the way my phone overheated and gave up on me. Okay. Okay, so a brief break was taken. Anyway, I also think Lemonade was a masterclass in concept albums. I'm not saying that they didn't exist. I personally just didn't really know or understand the concept of concept albums before this. I feel like since then, having a strong theme and a body of work has really mattered to me, because you see how good it can be when somebody has a cohesive idea and they take their time. You know, it's okay to wait until your work is actually good to put it out. And like I said, I do feel like the quality of this work was spoken for by how long it held Beyonce over, because especially at her age, at that point in her career, I'm not saying that she deserved to fall off. I'm just saying that it's a couple of people who, you know, they couldn't have came back in their 40s and had another hit, you know, and have it be like a real hit too. Several things I love about this era that aren't directly the music. I love her set of braids that she had during this, like the Lemonade braids, but also she had this one braided ponytail that she wore during the was it the Formation World Tour that I always just thought was so cute. I love Beyonce in a cute braid and a cute ponytail. This is also the era where, if Sasha Fierce was when white people learned who Beyonce was, this is the era where they was like, girl, bye. Bye, with the whole like Colin Kaepernick thing and just Formation, and apparently Beyonce remembered that she was black or whatever. I feel like Beyonce stopped talking to us a while ago, but I feel like this is the point where she really started giving us her ass to kiss. Like, I'm not really playing her games. I'm not overextending myself where I don't already see fit. She came back, she did Coachella when she felt like it. She put it off for a whole nother year. Came back, did that when she felt like it. It was just a very historical moment for her in terms of like her career. Coachella in itself was a historical moment. Like, since then, it's just been a thing to be a headliner. Not saying that Coachella wasn't a relevant festival before Beachella. It's felt different to be a headliner, to be on that stage since then. We all have to admit that, though. I'll say the significance to the artist more so than the festival itself, because Coachella has been popping for a long time, but I just feel like to be a part of that lineup really meant something after Beachella, because you saw how instrumental it could be in elevating a career. Beyonce's career didn't need the elevation, but somehow she still did it. So if Beyonce can do that with hers, imagine what you can do with yours. Last thing I want to say is that if her run ended here as well, it would have been an amazing run. She didn't need to do anything after this. Like, when I tell you her magnum opus, even after everything she's released after that, that I still think is better than this album, I still think that this speaks the best for her, and she doesn't need to say anything else. Everything after this is just fun and whatever that she wants to do. You know, I'm kind of glad that she came and she flipped it. She told the truth and she moved on with her life. She literally got busy living her life after this, and as she should. You know, she suffered deserves to just go off and do whatever she wants to do. The next best album, which is really funny that it's this high up on the list because I did not get it the first time, is Renaissance. Several reasons. Okay, so I'm thanking Beyonce for her experimentation now, but y'all, at the time I did not get it. Let me tell y'all, I have this funny story. My phone broke the night that Renaissance came out. The album came out at 12. My phone took a swim in the laundry at 2 a.m. The only song I played for like the 2 weeks before I got a new phone was America Had a Problem, and that was the only song I got, because who doesn't love 80 Cents? Like, I'm always like, girl, I'm a real K-pop stan. A real second gen K-pop stan. I love me some 80 Cents. But like Break My Soul, for example, I didn't like Break My Soul when it came out. Still don't like Break My Soul. Not gonna lie, y'all. Not that, you know what, and I'm not gonna lie, this is me. Is this being hypocritical? I don't really care. Y'all just gonna have to flog me. Break My Soul is a song that I 100%, if it had been given to any smaller artist, I would have liked the song. Mostly because Beyonce, I know you did not just quit your 9 to 5. I know you did not just fall in love. Maybe she did. That's none of my business. But it just feels like I know that this is not a song for you. It's a song for us, for me. And so I get why other people like it, but me personally, I'm not buying it. I didn't buy it in 2022. I will never buy it. I will never see it for Break My Soul. I don't think it's a bad song though. I just don't really enjoy Beyonce on it. Beyonce, obviously, if she's gonna stay with her husband for the rest of her life, she probably is never gonna come out and say anything explicitly about her sexuality. But if that was a side sister, I'm catching it. I am catching it. You know, the girls who needed that information, the girls who needed that information, that is never too. The girls who needed that information that you never too old to be bisexual, took it. Trust me, I saw it. Honestly, she needs to put the live action of this on YouTube. So, or not on YouTube, on streaming. I know that she don't care. You don't have to care, girl, but I would like to listen to it every day. I would, you know, because now you got me listening to downloads and stuff. You want me to do that? Anybody who samples Donna Summer, I respect you. I love you. One thing about me, I don't play about Miss Donna Summer. This holder is pissing me off, y'all. Hold on. Lip combo time. Fenty, call me. I can make you so much money. Because this lip oil. I'll see how good she looks. Period. And then I've been doing this Rare Beauty blush. It's also the blush that's on my face. And then it all. So cunty. So cunty. Very orange. Very not demure. Very everything. Anyways. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. You know what? One of my favorite things about this album or this era is, I'm not gonna lie, it's Beyonce's body after having her twins. Yep. You know, I've always thought Beyonce was beautiful, but I never really thirsted after her. But this album was a point where I was like, hold on. You know, you didn't used to... What's all that movement back there? Like, you know, I want to be respectful because she's a lady and she's married, you know, but things looked a little bit different and I was enjoying that difference. Yes, and I've been enjoying it. Yes. Like, I started feeling ways about Beyonce. I never thought about, girl, about to eat my phone. Like, but yeah, I do think, you know what? I said it a lot during this. Beyonce has a lot of music that you gotta let grow on you, but it's really good. Or let me just say me. I didn't get it the first time, but I got it over a couple of times, and I have been really, really enjoying it. I will give Renaissance an 11 out of 10. It has Move. It has the Move remix. You know, like having, I'm sorry, the live version with the Nina Sky and the Thames mix, like the Free My mix. I'm sorry, girl, you have to put that on streaming, or people are gonna do illegal stuff with it, babe. You have to. Like the Cozy, like the chant for Cozy, we need that, or we're gonna do illegal things with it. That's just what's gonna happen. Yeah. I just realized I haven't been rating all of these numerically, but Lemonade is also, y'all have to know that's a 10 out of 10. Okay, y'all have to know. Anyway, it's funny because this is technically the only album left, but I have another prediction. Beyonce's best album is Cowboy Carter. Walk with me, and anybody who's smart won't need this breakdown, but I'm gonna do it for the rest of y'all who are a little bit, you know, delayed. As somebody who, when I tell y'all I'm real African to my core, I don't even like country music. I don't like country music. You will never get me to listen to anything country outside of Shania Twain. I won't even listen to Carrie Underwood before he cheats, and everybody knows about that song. As somebody who does not like the country genre, has no, you know, invested interest in protecting or revering that genre, I love this music. But you know what I respect the most about this album? Not the genre, but Beyonce's mind. The writing on this album is phenomenal. As somebody who loves to write, I write poetry, I like to write music, I just like to write who expresses themselves with their words. The writing on this album cannot be understated. I think the way that she's able to talk about the realities, some of the realities of being Black in America and having your ancestry tied here, but no one making it a comfortable space for you, is so well articulated. I think for the topics that it takes on, it articulates them well. Obviously, her wearing the American flag and just like you know, just embodying the American persona is something that has been a little bit controversial to her fan base and just in general pop culture right now. Not everybody is loving that. And my thing is, number one, I'm the kind of person where because I am able to trace my ancestors back to a certain kind of point, I'm never going to look at somebody else who maybe can't trace their lineage back past America, that they can't embody the flag, that they can't be proud of certain things. If they have a complicated relationship with the flag and with America, they can have that. That's theirs to have. I'm not going to tell you that you can't or it's weird. You know, I'm not going to say that I enjoy or I agree or I want, you know, to do exactly everything that she's doing with her imagery, especially in this album. But I'm not going to sit there and have the fight. I'm not going to have the argument. Do what you want to do. I also feel like if Lemonade was telling us about things that Beyonce maybe never would have admitted before, I think this album has an eloquence that Beyonce has never spoken with before. Like the way that she goes in depth, like the way that she's inspired by her daughters, talking about her relationship with her husband again, but like Jolene, just her and did I say daughter? That song is about her, or did I just say daughters, like her daughters? Whatever. But the song Daughter and how it illustrates like Beyonce, we know that she has a jealousy streak, or let me just say that she said it herself before. But this is the first time where she's been clear about how mad that she gets at that kind of stuff. Like, she's definitely articulated her perspective to us. I just don't think that she's ever articulated so in depth. Like, Beyonce 2006, when she made Ring the Alarm, she might have been out here dragging bitches. She might have been out here putting her hands on people, hands and feet on people, but she never would have came to us and said that. For her to be so old that she's just like, yeah, I was doing this and that, you know, whether it was real or it was just a fever dream that she wishes that she did at the moment, she never would have admitted that before this album. And for her to illustrate it so well, like, I love that. One thing about me, I'm not the kind of person who always needs to listen to a happy or jovial song. If you can illustrate how mad, how sad you were, and you do it well, I will respect that to the day I'm out this hoe. It's just really funny to me. I have so many positive things to say about this album, and that I literally think it's her best project ever, because I don't like country music. I hate, you know what, there are only several music genres that I hate so much that I won't listen to them at all. One is boom bap, the other is country. One thing about me, you know, I need my country mixed with something. I like that this is so R&B. It's not afraid to be experimental. You know, I just need my country real watered down. I need it to be 99% R&B, 1% country. What I also love about this era is not just the success of Beyonce's music, but all her business ventures. She's just succeeding in a way that I don't think that she's ever done before, and I feel like she feels like she's successful, so she actually is more successful, if that makes sense. Like, business is thriving, her children thriving, her music thriving. I hope her relationship is thriving. Like, there's just not a single thing that you see about her right now that isn't going well. They just had the release of that Lion King 2. Blue is out here going wild on tour. Tour looks amazing. Like, that first girl, she's flying around on a convertible right now. Beyonce's in an amazing place in her life, and she's 43, you know. I don't know if this will be a commercial peak, but at least on a personal level, this feels like the happiest, the most cohesive, the most prosperous she's ever been. Like, it literally feels like everything about her is succeeding right now. Even her mother, like, Solange, you next, drop that album. This album is just about all of the perspective that she has, you know, like, she's a seasoned mother, you know, she's a seasoned wife, she's a seasoned performer, you know. At this point, it's really about flourishing and allowing the things that you've invested in and the things that you've manifested to grow and to have a life and have a spirit and have a being of their own. You know, like I said, I'm really inspired by her love for love and how hard she'll fight for her family and how she'll center it in her art, because it keeps her going. Like, it's not just the content itself, it is how much motivation it gives her that I respect so much. You know, I will laugh all day about Beyonce, I will debate you about Beyonce all day, but this is an album that I'm serious about, even as somebody who objectively doesn't even like country music. You know, I can always say when something is good or bad, and this is an amazing body of work, literally down to her intention for creating this. But you know what's really interesting? I think that her next album will actually be her best album. I think B10 will be her real magnum opus. I think it'll outdo Lemonade. I hope so, like Act 3. You know, and I do think that this is the project that if she never does anything ever again, this is the note that she can leave on, like, yeah, came through, been here 30 years, still on top, and I still don't gotta listen to y'all. I can do whatever I want, period. I just love to see her be older and still thriving so much. I think that people age, especially with women in music, is like something that's used against them so easily and so quickly. And so to see a woman of her age thriving still is amazing. Mind you, I don't think Beyonce is just like, she's older, you know, she's gotten older, she's been here for a long time, and so if she was old, who cares, you know? But like, she's not done, you know. Just because I hate that people act like women turn a certain age and there's a descent on their career or their success. Like, no. I really hope this next album is rock inspired, but I do hope that we get some African and some Caribbean moments. Like I said, that's my favorite Beyonce. When I'm winding my waist, that's me all day. I also always think about how, like, you know, with I Am Sasha Fierce, for example, that's when you see Beyonce kind of feeling like an adult for real. But I know that she looks back at herself at those times like, wow, I thought I was grown now, but now I'm grown. Like, my kids is grown, I'm grown. But yeah, I do think that her next album will be her best. I don't know if it'll be her last, but I do think that if it was her last, it would be an amazing note to end on, just like Lemonade. I just love her work as an artist. I hope that even if we also never get another project out of her, that she continues to work in music, that she's mentoring other people, that we see her influence still. I mean, she'll have her children that are, you know, the girls who are inspired by Beyonce move on into the world. I just want to see her continuing to work on it. I want to see Beyonce be like Janet Jackson. Like, I want to see her thriving and be able to go on legacy tours and still get the crowd jumping, still get the kids going. I need Beyonce to continue the way that Janet Jackson is having a Someone to Call My Lover. I'm gonna need Beyonce songs to keep on doing that, and I'm sure that they will. You know what? Another random thing I love about Cowboy Carter, I love the interludes. I love Janet Jackson. I love R&B music. Yes. But yeah, y'all, that was the end of my rant. Let me know if y'all agreed. If you have, I'm sure that y'all will let me know if you feel like you disagree with my opinions. You know, the Beyonce stands really find this. The hive really finds this. But yeah, let me know if y'all agree. I'm sure that y'all will let me know if you disagree. I'm sure if the hive ever finds this, like, you know, especially if a lot of y'all ever find this, I'm sure you will be letting me know your opinion in the comments. But yeah, let me know if y'all like my makeup or if you have any questions. I will, you know what, I'm gonna put y'all on for the one time because I look so cute and I know somebody might ask me. So the blush that I'm using is the Rare Beauty Matte Bouncy Blush in Alive. It's like this bright orange, and that's what I'm using on my lips. I also use the Fenty lip oil in Dragon Fruit, and then I just have the Sephora I have the Sephora pressed powder all over my face. It's not foundation, it's literally just pressed powder. I have a single Sephora eyeshadow on, and I do have the Trophy Wife highlighter by Fenty Beauty, and then there's a single Sephora eyeshadow that I have on as well. But I honestly think the Trophy Wife is overpowering it. I just feel like I look so cute and warm, and it's May 1st, you guys. You know, summer is coming, so I feel like I look very summery. Anyways, yeah, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.